Octavia is a woman of vision and exclusive creativity and its best. And she believes in unity and teamwork. And she has a great love for her community, creates opportunities for collaborative incentives, volunteers to build and enhance our brands. Octavia is an alumnus of Cross High School and the class of 1997, and an alumni of Trident Technical College class of 2015. She has an associate degree of Arts in Human Services and certificates in gerontology. I hope you can fix that. Early childhood and early childhood development. She's a very successful businesswoman. Octavia is a published author of the book My Mind, Body, and Soul, and Traces of My Pencil, and Swirls and Dots, The Magical Paintbrush, a children's book, and is currently working on other literary projects. She stands by her motto, created with vision, created with excellence, created with soul, exclusively for you. Anything she places in her hands upon it is exclusively, just like fingerprints. I give you Octavia Cohen.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm a little nasally because I'm overcoming some sniffles. So, I'm here to talk to you about my life as an imaginative, creative muse with fear. So, it's such a joy to be here today. There's something sacred about a library, a place where thought has a heartbeat, where silence isn't empty, it's alive with possibility. There's a rhythm that lives inside all of us, a quiet pulse that whispers, create. The quiet whispers that says, who are you to create? What if you fail? What if you're not enough? I want to talk to you about that whisper and how we can create beyond it. For me, that whisper became a symphony. It didn't begin with a rush or a poem or a stage. It began with life itself. Wild, unpredictable, sometimes painful, always profound. I didn't choose to be a muse. Life appointed me one. My scars, my triumphs, my silence, my laughter, all became pigments in a palette I didn't even know I was holding. As a young dreamer, I thought creativity was something you did. You painted, you danced, you wrote, as if art only lived on the canvas. But life, life had other lessons. It showed me that creativity isn't something you make, it's something you become. When alopecia entered my story, it came like a storm. Sudden, unstoppable, stripping away everything I thought made me beautiful.
And we will all cry with you. I'm a crybaby too. My daddy told me it was fine to cry.
Thank you so much. I embraced it confidently, knowing that my alopecia would encourage so many. At first, I grieved what I saw in the mirror, but underneath that grief, I was mourning the illusion of control. And then I took it as a grand sign, more like an opportunity to embrace my uniqueness and release my shell, my comfort zone, no longer using my locks of 6 years to hide. I gave up the barbershops and trying to explain how to blend and fade my alopecia. And then I decided to release. I stood bare, bold, and bold. Then came the stillness. And in that stillness, something sacred stirred. I realized the very thing that tried to silence my light became its amplifier. Alopecia didn't take my identity, it revealed it. Every time you create, you tell fear, I am still here. Creation isn't just courage, it's self-love in motion. Every brushstroke, every word, every melody says, I believe in my becoming. To live creatively is to practice alchemy, turning the lead of experience into gold of expression. You didn't worry if it made sense, you just knew it made magic. That was imagination in its purest form, fearless, alive, unfiltered. But somewhere along the way, someone said, that's not realistic, and we listened. We began to tuck our creativity away like something too fragile to show the world. We learned to color inside the lines, even when our souls wanted to paint the sky. And that's where fear was born, in the space between our wonder and their approval. Every heartbreak, every doubt, every raw moment of being human became material for transformation. I began painting the unseen, the emotions too wild for words, the memories too tender for conversation. Abstract art became my language. Through color, I spoke healing. Through form, I rediscovered freedom. When I stood before a blank canvas, I wasn't trying to make something beautiful. I was trying to make something true. Each brushstroke carried a prayer for wholeness, for understanding, for connection. As I created, I realized the canvas was painting me too. My art began to mirror my evolution. Chaotic at first, then layered, textured, alive. I learned that creativity doesn't just decorate life, it decodes it. It takes our chaos and turns it into clarity. It takes our wounds and turns them into wisdom. Becoming the Muse. There's a turning point in every creator's journey when you stop seeking inspiration and start being it. When your life itself becomes the art. I began to see that everything, the way I heal, the way I love, the way I stand bare before the world, was part of a living canvas. Each morning, I painted with presence. Each conversation, I sculpted with empathy. Each challenge, I wove into meaning. That's what it means to be a muse. It's not about perfection. It's not about the applause. It's not even about talent. It's about courage to live authentically enough that your very being becomes art. To turn pain into poetry, routine into ritual, fear into fuel. And the most magical part is when you live that way, you start to ignite fire in others. You become the mirror that reflects possibility. You remind others they too are masterpieces in progress. The sacred exchange. Fear is not the enemy of creativity. It's the test of it. Every time we choose to create anyway, to write, to paint, to build, we remind fear that it has no authority over our vision. Every artist knows the dance between creation and surrender. You You offer your truth to the world, not knowing how it will be received. It's something you collaborate with, a dance between your soul and something larger. Call it muse, spirit, or mystery. When you sit down to create, you don't need to have all the answers. You just need to show up. This is a partnership. You bring your willingness, imagination brings its wonder. And together, you create worlds that could not exist without your courage. But when someone says, your art made me feel seen, or your story gave me courage, I've met people who haven't drawn, sung, or written in decades because someone told them, your art is strange, or your story doesn't make sense, or your voice isn't good enough. Even Maya Angelou said, I've written 11 books, and each time I think, uh-oh, they're going to find out more about me. She was afraid, and she wrote anyway. That's the secret. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision that imagination matters more. That's when I realized that's the real masterpiece. Because art isn't finished when the paint dries. It's finished when it touches another soul. Each of us carries that sacred power to take life in, transform it through our spirit, and offer it back as life. And that is purpose. So when I say I've used my life as a creative muse, I don't mean I've lived a life of constant beauty. I mean, I've learned to see the beauty, even in the unraveling. My life became my art. A mosaic, moments stitched with resilience, color, and grace. And if there are several truths I leave with you today, it's these. You don't have to search for inspiration. You are inspiration. Your life, with all its mess and magic, is already art in motion. Live boldly, create fearlessly, and remember, the muse you've been waiting for is you. Every time you create, you join the great story, the one that began before you and will continue long after. Beyond fear, there is freedom. Beyond hesitation, there is creation. And beyond doubt, there is you. You, the dreamer, the builder, the alchemist of ideas. Trust your imagination again. It's been waiting for you all along. Thank you.
Your principal at Cross was Dr. Gillian?
Dr. Gillings was at Cross Elementary.
Oh, okay. Because they just wrote a book on Cross, and I don't have it. I'm going to look at Carl Gillian. And she was one of my team.
Oh, great.
Brilliant. I can see her here.
Thank you. Oh, thank you so